Okay, hopefully we're live here, and let's have a look and see if there are any folks in here. And it looks like we may have 15 people in here. And if you can kindly just leave a real quick text in the chat, let you know that you're here. Let me know that you're here and that you can hear me okay. Okay, great. We've got Urban Carlson says hi, and Michael Anthony says hello from Tucson. Not very far from me. An hour and a half, something like that. And we got Michael Deering here and Lupita's Garden. Boy, I'm not sure I pronounced Lupita's correctly. Mike Eaton is here. Hi, Mike. And so as people just start coming in, I will just acknowledge as many folks as I can. And I hope you'll forgive me. Sometimes it gets kind of hectic and people jump in here and I'm really trying to catch up with saying hi, and sometimes I'll miss you. Also, sometimes I can miss the questions, but I keep working on that and try to get all your questions or as many as I possibly can. So we got Midwest Mama's Adventures. Oh, it's an interesting name. And we got Scott Williams. Scott says howdy, howdy Scott. And Dogo says hi from Tucson. Shane Michael, that's a familiar name. Um, and it says hour and a half. You must stay in the slow lane. Yeah, I don't drive all that fast overall. And to be honest, as I'm getting older, I get more and more what should I say, unwilling to jump into super fast traffic. I mean, I'm not a geriatric or anything. I mean, I can do 75. I don't like to. Okay. Okay, and so we got David is here, Cynthia Bailey is here, Lupita's Garden is here, John Gailey from Salt Lake City. Wow, cool. Paul Action Phillips. That's an interest. Acton Phillips. Uh-oh, thought it was Action. Paul Acton Phillips. Hi from Jersey. Okay. Jersey CI. I wonder what that means. Jersey CI. Is it Jersey City? That's what I'm thinking. Jersey City. Okay. So, folks, I hope you're having a great day so far, and super thankful you came by. This is a Saturday afternoon, and I don't know about where you are. Tell me what your weather's like. Mine is absolutely beautiful. It's one of these perfect days for me. I love heat. And so I would say we're looking at probably 90 degrees out there, maybe 92. And so for folks in Europe, I believe that's about 34 degrees thereabouts. And so I absolutely love these kind of temperatures. I avoid colds. I feel great. On and on and on. You can heat me up, and I'm happy. So anyway, that's how that is. Um, and then let's say we got um, RMS Adventure. Hello from Crawfordsville, Indiana. RG Arizona Homestead says, at least you are going to a larger building for living space. I hope you're all doing well this weekend. Yeah, I am RG Homestead. As most folks know, it's going to be, when it's complete, hopefully around 1,200 square feet. And so we got Odds Adventures. Hello from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Oh, wow. Thought, I wonder if Fort Lauderdale is just blowing around and dealing with severe storms right now. Shane says it's hot here. That makes sense. Floyd Herbert says Herb from Iowa. Hi, Herb. Good to see ya. And it's funny when I see the word herb, sometimes I almost want to say herb. Oops, but have to kind of give myself a rattle, and then I'm on the right page. Okay. So Paul says it's sorry, think of the rocker. Jersey Channel Islands, UK. Oh, wow. Cool. That is really cool. Potato said, hi from Phoenix, and I'm tired of the heat. It's 113 right now. Oh, I'm so sorry, Potato Head. Yeah, Phoenix, even for me, is a bit hot. I mean, consistently because I'm at 4,300 feet. When Phoenix is 113, I'm like 92. You know. And Lupita's Garden says, please say hello to Jerry Reuter. Sorry, he likes your videos. Well, hello, Jerry Reuter, and thank you so much for watching them. RMS Adventure says cloudy and 71, perfect weather to work in. Okay. Lupita's Garden says in Texas is 95. And Lobo says, hello, Chief. Greetings from East Africa. Wow, wow, East Africa. Let's see. I've been in East Africa and all over it. In 2005, I traveled to Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and the Congo just for 2 hours. It's kind of dangerous in there. That's another story. Tucson's 104. Charles says it was 110 here in Hereford yesterday, and I'm close enough to Hereford and, of course, in Sierra Vista area that, yeah, it was that hot in my area as well. But again, for anyone that feels 110, if you look at it through my system physiologically, when it's 110 to you, it's 80 something for me. I have a very different um, biological makeup. Lobo is from Ethiopia. How amazing is that? Now, Ethiopian people, I really enjoy. I've met some in Kenya, believe it or not, that were of Ethiopian ancestry. So very, very cool. Urban Carlson says it's -2 here in Sweden. Good night. Well, look at, first of all, Urban, thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Sweden. Uh, that's absolutely fantastic. And I have a question for you. Being in Sweden, what about this channel? Because I'm curious, would what would you find interesting in as far as being a Swedish person and because it's a very different climate in a very different area. So if you could take a moment to answer that, that would be really cool. And I think my viewers would enjoy knowing about that. Aussie's Adventure says Fort Lauderdale weather partly cloudy, 80 degrees and sticky. Wow. Again, I thought Fort Lauderdale would have uh, been being blown almost into the water with hurricane stuff. Music says, you inspired me immensely. I hope to follow in your footsteps soon. Wow, Music. Well, look at, I just hope that everything goes super well for you. If I can give you a little word of advice, research, research, research. That's 3 words. And so you're really, really well prepared. And tune into channels where you think people are being really realistic and showing their mistakes. And so you get an idea just exactly what it's really like to be here. And then Kentuckazona, that's interesting, says 103 in Green Valley. Yeah, Green Valley. I love Green Valley. I almost always every year, um, to let know a little bit of a secret there, but go to Best Western Motel in Green Valley, and I stay a couple nights because it's pretty close to Madera Canyon, so I can go birding, look at hummingbirds. I was there filming barrel and hummingbirds there. Oh gosh, about a month ago. Oh no, more than that. I think it was like uh, yeah, no, about a month ago. And barrel and hummingbirds are a Mexican species, and so it was cool to see one bird that was there. So anyway, I won't get off on a birding tangent there. And Urban says, I follow you for off-grid life and nature around you. I'm a milk farmer. That's so cool, Urban. Really, really cool. And I grew up in a logging farming area in Canada, and my neighbors most had Holstein cows. A few had Jersey as well that they would milk. So interesting. If you have a second, shout out what breed of cattle that you have there, and if you have more than one. I'm just curious. I won't spend a lot of time with it, but I can here. But it would be interesting to know. And then Rod E says, "What's your favorite season now that you got settled in on your property?" Oh, that is so easy. Monsoon season. So we're talking the months of July, August, and September. absolutely love those months because it means that I don't have to do the Canadian thing and have teeth chattering and wake up in the morning with sniffles because it was cold at night, and that kind of thing. It's just like tropics. I love tropics. And of course, with all the rain, it's so fun. You never know what the day is going to be like. It can be kind of beautiful blue sky and a few puffy clouds, or it can be all this really, really serious gray rolling clouds, lightning just showing up everywhere, and torrential rain. And it's just, I love it. It's just fantastic. Um, EM says, "Hi, Dawn. I was wondering if you have ever had any incidents of someone trying to steal anything from your property. I hear there's a lot of crime in rural Arizona. Thanks." EM, I want to be careful because if I say this, something could happen in 24 hours. I kid you not, I have never even lost a screwdriver, a hammer, a nothing on my property. Now, mind you, be really, really aware too that this rural area, everyone is armed. I mean, seriously. So you've got to be really stupid to march into one of my neighbor's yards and decide you're going to poke around and take something. Because if you get caught, the law is not going to be on your side. And I know that's a big topic and I won't get into it because it can then spiral into political, which is not what my channel is about at all. But just to tell you, so far, absolutely nothing. I've lost nothing. And then Comedy Mothership says, "I'm not sure you know how awesome you are." Honestly, I don't. That's a puzzle. I still don't know that. It puzzles me. Sometimes I look at the demographics to see who watches my channel. And by the way, guys, I'm going to tell you, the average person that watches my channel is a male who's 65 and over. Now, that said, a lot of other folks, especially ladies, watch too. But that's just, demographics for you. That's the majority of people. And F. Huber says, "I work my house building alone because I can't afford to pay someone to help." That makes sense. Donald McCartney says, "Hi from Kingston, Ontario." Hi, I'm being Canadian. Of course, I know Ontario well. I've been birding there. My cousin lives in London, Ontario. Um, and then Lori says, "Hello, sir, from Wichita Wells, Apache County, Arizona. The past week, we've gone from a gallon of hummingbird food a day down to a cup a day." Yes, indeed. And the huge part of that is because we get a lot of fruit bats that sneak in at night and just guzzle hummingbird food. And so my neighbors are saying the same thing. And they're like, "Don, you're the bird guy. My hummingbirds are hardly even touching my hummer food." And it's just this season. It goes up and down. Music says, "I'm a 38-year-old male reporting." Awesome, Music. I love it. I absolutely love it when young folks come here. I used to have a viewer, and I won't tell you who it was, but she was this young, like 20-year-old girl living in Brazil, I think, and her family wanted to go off grid. So they loved this channel, and wow, what a cool thing that was. Charles says, "Winter's coming." I know, I'm dreading it already. And Half Ernst Boo says, "I'm wondering, I hear always about monsoon and a lot of rain. So why is it not a lot greener?" Well, honestly, Half Ernst Booze, I haven't shown you, I haven't panned the camera around to show all the greenery, but it really is green. As a matter of fact, the grass in my yard is chest high in places, which, by the way, I've been drooling over, by the way, I've been drooling over this it's called Ego. No, sorry. Yeah, it is. It's called an EGO weed trimmer. They're expensive, but I've been drooling over them because my neighbor has one. And if I ever get one of those things, I am going to go to town on all the weeds here. Lester Afterberry says, "Hi from Chilocin, Oregon." Very cool. Michael Deering is 68. And Neil Bennett, "G'day, Don from Werribee." Oh, Neil, probably, I'm going to slip into a little bit of an Oz accent. I want to tell you, mate, I was down to Werribee Sue's Lagoon, and I was looking for some orange belly parrots, and I didn't see any, but I had a lovely time there. And yeah, so anyway, hope you'll forgive, slip into Canadian, hope you'll forgive that awful Aussie accent. I had to have fun with it though. Then it says, Urban says, I'm 40 years young, and I'll give you an update next time about the cows so I didn't say wrong. Okay, good. Now I'm going to get into the topic, and then I'm going to. Oh, I got to switch back out of the Australian accent. It's not a topic. Got to is the topic in Canadian. So I'm going to get back into the groove here, and so so literally address some of the questions. So why do you, at 69 years of age, work alone? And I'm going to tell you right off, for folks, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I do it, but very strategically. I'm not saying that an accident can't happen, but I never just rush up a ladder or jump here or hop there or take my table saw and quickly run a board through it. You can't do that when you're alone. Everything has to be done really, really methodically and carefully. I also, when it's windy, I won't work. And I had a close call with the wind, which I showed folks, where a truss blew down. It's just a rogue puff of wind that blew the truss down and missed my head by, well, it actually grazed my head, and the truss ended up around my shoulders, and I could have not been here anymore. And so that was even more of a wake up call. Just don't do anything in the wind. So um, so anyway, I do all of these things carefully. Also, some folks have said you shouldn't even be on a roof, at almost 70, and I get that. But also please remember, folks, that as far as being up high, I made my living climbing into 80-foot trees, essentially in bald eagles nests and a variety of things. Now I was younger, but and it's not the same, and I don't have the same reflexes. I get that, but you still are aware of the dangers, and psychologically, you know that if you make a mistake, you're not going to be on the earth anymore. So I put that into mind as well. And also, let's just look at the roof thing. That roof is a 312 pitch, so there's very little pitch on it at all. For example, if I wanted to try to slide on my bum down the roof, I probably couldn't because it just doesn't have enough of a pitch. So I'm very, very careful on the roof, and I have lots more roof work to do, and I'm going to have to continue to be careful. So I think hopefully that will tell you a little bit about working alone and being careful. There's some things, if it's just too heavy or requires two people without what I call a MacGyverism, then I do have folks I can check in with. You might have seen Engineer Ed um, occasionally in the videos. He's a neighbor of mine, and he is available pretty much, being retired, pretty much anytime I need some help. So I'll call Ed if I need to like unload like sheet metal from my roof, which I did because it's 26 gauge and it's really heavy. So a little sneak preview about that. And no, it's not on the roof yet, but it will be at some point. And so I have to be really, really careful. Now, let's look at the other reason I do most of my work here alone. This for me is the adventure of a lifetime. And I won't get into a lot of family history. Just to tell you, I grew up a pretty feral kid, as in doing almost everything alone. And so a lot of the joy I had in discovery and learning new skills, um, being in the bush and encountering my first black bear mom and cubs, uh, climbing into my first raven's nest to photograph the eggs and young. All of that was done alone. And so, in 2005, I was backpacking all over Africa as a 50-year-old, um, all alone, etc. So it's really natural for me to do things alone, and I do get a particular joy in that. Now, I'm social enough that I absolutely love people. I've grown a lot from a feral little kid who didn't like people at all to an adult who really loves people. But I still love the solo journey, and the fact that I get to kind of ruminate about where the windows are going to go, or all of the decisions, and it gets to be a personal adventure, kind of like, not the best analogy, someone who's sculpting and it's their first time sculpting, and they just are really excited about it. They've got all of the material and they want to create something really cool. And to have someone come in and go, hey, grab another tool and go, I'll help you sculpt that. Yeah, it wouldn't work, you know. So I hope that explains it a bit. It's as best as I know, um, to describe to you uh, how I, or why I do that type of thing, and why I'm building this Home Alone. And Home Alone, wasn't that a movie? Yeah. So anyway, so let's have a look here at some of these really cool things. Also, too, guys, I think Super Chat is available. And what happens with Super Chat, essentially, if you don't have to, but if you ever want, if you thought, I'd like to buy him a coffee today or whatever, you can hit a Super Chat. In my case, it'd be hot chocolate, by the way. I don't like coffee. I'm not sure, I'm a real rarity. I mean, I really, really don't like coffee. I've had 5 cups, maybe 6 in my life. I don't like it. So anyway, Super Chat is at the bottom. There's this emoji thing, and right to the right of it is a dollar bill thing, and that's Super Chat. So the reason why I mention it, not to put out a tin cup for donations, but I've had people not happy with me. They're like, "Why didn't you tell us you had Super Chat activated?" And I'm like, "Oops, well, I didn't want to be too forward." And so that's let's move on from that. And so yeah, so Charles, I have to say this. This is so funny. Charles says, "Feral kid?" Question mark, like the one in Mad Max. Um, I looked pretty feral at times, especially my teens, where I started to grow facial hair and my hair was longer. Yeah, I looked kind of feral, but not quite as intense as that. So anyway, so let's have a look here. And now I'm going to let you start asking me questions, and I'm going to start pouring through this because I always feel bad when I put these videos, or sorry, when I put these live videos up and I go over later and I look at everything and I look at all the questions, I go, oh, crud. I did not answer so and so's question. And I always wondered, does the person feel bad in some way? And I'm just like, it bothers me, to be honest. So I'm going to go back here a little bit. And Urban says, I'm 40 years young. Very cool. And Sandy Smith said, why did a commercial just pop up? I don't know, Sandy. I said they can do commercials with this, that YouTube could, but they usually do those after the whole live has been published and you guys have finished visiting with me. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sorry. Let's see. We got Kentucky Zone says, Dawn, do you have an air conditioner to deal with the triple digit days? Kentucky Zona, I don't. The cross ventilation in this little cabin is really good. I have I have two 4x3 windows and the breeze blows through. And I live in a very windy area. And so there's almost always this tropical breeze blowing. And I so resent being cold. And also remember that if you're uncomfortable at 100, then I'm even inside, I'm mildly uncomfortable, but not to the point I probably want to do anything about it. So I'm just odd that way physiologically, and I've always been that way. Okay. So no plan to get an air conditioner. For guests in the big home, or when I have friends over, I'm going to do a mini split, and I'll do one of those DIY ones. And so we'll do that. And that'll be for other people. I won't really care. Bill Jennings says, hi, Robote. Sorry, try that again. Bill Jennings posts, but Hi, Roberta here. So it's Roberta chatting with us here in Helotes, Texas. Your house bell's looking good. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much, Roberta. It's coming along bit by bit. We Speak Meets is Dawn. What arrangement have you got in place to summon help if you should get hurt being all by yourself? Thank you. I have my smartphone on me all the time, and my neighbors, you can see them in some videos. They are literally a 5 minute stroll across the road, and um, so they could literally, and they're retired and they're at home all the time, so they could be over. As a matter of fact, my neighbor, and I won't tell you who he is, but I was up on the roof doing work and he yells over. He says, Don, be careful on that roof. I know you're being careful, not be careful. So so I'm like, I felt like I was being reprimanded by my dad. But anyway, all I could do is yell back and say, yeah, I'm doing my best to be really careful. And then Behold, Bo Eider says 30 miles. Not sure what that means. Hi from Iowa. Your energy is uplifting, says Makota Streamwalker. Oh, thanks so much. I'm just really, really blessed. I never that never realized about the energy levels until people pointed out. I don't think much about it, but I ran for years and climbed, and I was a really athletic kid, and that's the only thing I can tell you. Um, and let's see. Neil says you're forgiven. Thank you very much, Neil. That's always a good thing. Jack says, hi, Don. Nice to see you. Okay, thank you so much. Nice to see you. Neil Bennett says, take care on the roof. I will. I'm doing my best. And Lori says, we use a swamp cooler in Northeast Arizona because we don't have enough power to run AC with our fridge and chest freezer. That makes sense. And Dewdrop says, good to see you on live. Good to see you, Dewdrop. Shane Michael says, I'm also 69 and have learned reluctantly to not take risks. Yeah, I take what I would call calculated risks, Shane. Yeah, if I if I feel it can be done safely, where I don't put my body in the way of anything heavy, and I relearned that lesson this year. And as far as climbing ladders and stuff, I just go up really one step at a time. Like I don't, some people just go bing, 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 bing up ladders. I don't. It's just really slow, methodical when I go up and down. Starjack says, you do not look 69. Wow, that made my day. Thank you so much. Here we go. Lori says, Jim Newsom uh, says basically, it's usually cool enough that swamp cooler works. Okay, and that's good. Um, Urban says, don't YouTube take 40 cents off Super Chat? I can't remember, and I'm not good. I need to be better with finances. All I know is I'm just thankful for it, and that's a cool thing. And Shane says, what type of heating are you planning on? Shane, that's a really great question for the big house. I'm going to be doing, I'm probably going to be doing a propane furnace, and one that'll, for a cold-blooded person like me, can heat that place up real nicely. And then I will do two mini splits, one in the master bedroom and one in the common area. And the mini splits, you can only use the heating sporadically from what I know, because that can be a little taxing on your solar setup. But I'm going to have to learn as I go with it. And so um, that that's really, really important, just to take my time, figuring out and experimenting what's going to work. So what I might do is start out with the mini splits and see how they go, and then if I then need to revert to the propane heater for supplemental heat, then I will. So I hope that makes sense. Florida Jack says, hello from Ocala, Florida. Hi, Florida Jack. And some of your names are really familiar. I've been looking at you visiting my channel for years, so I do remember you. So, Bob Cole, definitely remember Bob. You're going to do metal roofing. Yes, Bob, it's sitting in the yard as we speak, 26 gauge Galvalume. And the reason I'm using Galvalume is same as this little cabin here. Galvalume is one of the safest materials for rainwater harvesting, chemical wise. It's not perfect, so you always have to filter out or filter your water, but it's really good. Plus, it lasts and lasts. So we're looking at probably 60 years, I'm hoping, before that roof, when it's completed, needs anything done to it. So that and I'm looking forward to getting that done. I'm really, really getting what should I say, restless and antsy about getting all the roofing stuff done. You know, Andrew Soller says, "Hi, Don. How are your polonias?" Andrew, I have a honest but sad story about the polonias. They came back this spring, and we're looking pretty happy. But our spring was really dry, and so I was neglectful. I thought, I need my water. I don't get a lot, and it's expensive if I have to buy it. So I was really mean to the poor old polonias and thought, you guys are supposed to be fairly drought tolerant, but they're really young. And so I made a mistake. So I lost them, unfortunately. The good news is they grow super fast and I can get more. And so I will. But I'm going to have the water for them so I can be kind to them and make sure they get a great start in life. Uh, PMLM says, "Hey, from California." Hi, PMLM. I'm not sure. I thought you were from Northern California. Actually, I'm thinking you are actually from the Novato region, if I remember right. Trickshot says, "Do you have a general move into the big house time? I'm 100 miles south of the International Peace Garden from Canada." That's cool. Very cool. Um, Move into the big house time. I've given up on it because every time I make a date in my mind, it's slower than I thought. And folks, one of the reasons building your own home is slow if you've never done construction before is that you have to research and research first before you do anything. And for me, because I'm filming everything, and I love the fact that I got a YouTube channel, but also it makes things uh, there's more work involved. So if I'm doing like say putting up wall sheathing, I'm spending X amount of time doing that. And then I'm taking a day and a half to take all the video footage and edit it properly so that it's watchable. So everything is slower. So I don't have a timeline. We'll see. Let's see. Let's see. Kentuckazonis says, "Don, I totally get the solo building. I've always rolled that way. No one to tell me what to do, and it saves a lot of money." Well, I forgot. I should have mentioned that. Financially, there is no way that I could afford to be here, live here, and have a nice home if I had a construction company do something. For example, I had some of my subscribers say, "Don, you're getting up there. We do not want to hear that you put your own roof on. Get a roofing company." And honestly, I literally cannot. That is not within my budget. Not realistic at all. And so that means that I have to learn to be a roofer. Now, I have to learn to do it safely, and the roofing videos are not they are not published yet. But you will see that that when it's necessary to have help for that job, that's what I do. So, okay, here we go. So, Morgan says, "We're so proud of your compliments so far. Keep up the good work, sir." Thank you very, very much. I'll tell you, folks, there's days when I'm just going, I'm feeling a little down in the dumps here. I didn't get much done. I'm not sure I'm very effective out here. And I'll come in and read your comments. What a boost. You guys are so nice. I'm serious. I have looked at a lot of YouTube channels, and I sincerely believe that the folks who come here to this channel for whatever reason are the nicest commenters on any YouTube platform. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. And I'm wondering, have you guys noticed that too? People are just really nice here. Let's see. Paul says, hi from Austin, Texas. Hi, Paul. Great to see you here. Charles says, I have a small Nesher electric tractor if you ever need it. It has an auger, forks, loader bucket, mini excavator. Look me up at the ant farm. Thanks, Charles. I'm thinking, yeah, I think you're over in Hereford, so not too far as the crow flies. Rod says, do you have a rough move-in date for your big house? Rough move-in. Oh, wow. Hmm. It's got to be insulated and all electricity, all wiring done, and on and on and on. So that's going to be a while. I'm guessing sometime in 2025. That's all I can tell you. Gary Gardner says, hi, Don. Glad you're on. I just happened across you today. I love listening to your answers to all these questions. You're interesting in your personal efforts and a wealth of knowledge for us. Wow, that is so awesome, Gary. I love sharing. I just do. And it's just there's nothing more fun for me than sharing with all of you about what I'm doing here. It's awesome. Sherry says Central Texas, 91 degrees, cool for Texas. I just picked up my fall veggie garden plants, broccoli, dragon, kale, bok choy, and lots of Swiss chard for smoothies. You can grow Swiss chard in a pot. Yeah, I tried to grow chard last year and I failed, and I'm not sure why. It just didn't grow very well. So I got to do some more learning. PMLM says, how's your fountain? How are the birds, the quail? Great question. Fountain's great. I just cleaned it. Yes, I just drained it all yesterday. So it has to be cleaned and filled up with water. And quail are great, and I'm sure they can hardly wait for the fountain to be back in here. And yeah, and birds here, of course, are amazing. I'm getting a lot of migrants coming through, and that's really fun because they all head to Mexico through my yard, it seems. So I'll get like a flock of like a dozen Western kingbirds that are just sitting around my yard, and then they're all converging, going, "You want to go to Mexico yet? No, not really. Let's catch some insects in Don's property." And so that's fun. The bird life here is absolutely crazy. Oh, and speaking of bird life, uh, if you pay attention in some of my videos where you see storm clouds, you can hear this bright, clear little bird song. And that's a very rare bird here in Southeast Arizona called Cassin sparrow. I like to call it thunder sparrow because every time it thunders and lightnings, Cassin sparrows start singing like crazy. Really fun. Okay, here we go. Edward English says, what will you do to keep the critters out from under your house? Edward, that's an excellent question. I'm going to be using skirting that's really affordable and should look pretty nice. So stay tuned. It's going to be a while. It might be a year and a half before I get the skirting all around it. But I'll have it all tightly sealed with skirting and make sure that no critters can get under there. Either slithery ones or scurrying ones, if you get my drift. Urban Carlson says, what colors do you have on the house and inside? I'm assuming Urban that you mean the big home. It's not painted yet. It's the siding's not on yet. Okay. But stay tuned. I have the colors picked out. Stay tuned and you'll see. Neil says, I'm 75 and terribly healthy. I hope to stay that way. Neil, I mean, we can't guarantee, but we can do our part by staying active and just being outside a lot and doing things. Just do stuff. If you can still use a pick and shovel, do it. Rather than taking a car somewhere, walk. If friends invite you to go dancing, go dancing. That kind of thing. Let's see. Here we go. Rancher still versus Dawn. Which one item do you wish most you had? Right now, the Ego weed trimmer because they're expensive. They're like $300, and my weeds are right up to my chin. And every time I go out, I go, do I have the gall to ask my neighbor to borrow his weed trimmer? And I go, no, because I just don't. I just get the feeling that he may go, well, I don't want you coming by and asking for the weed trimmer all the time. I'm not saying he would think that. That's what I'm thinking. So weed trimmer. That's it. Um, And then Shane says, "You get what you give, Don." And that sounds really affirming. Thank you, Shane. Really appreciate that. Flyover Urban Garden says, "Hello, Don. Good to see you. You too, Flyover Urban. Thank you so much for all these years of hanging out and saying hi on this channel. Really cool." And PMLM says, "We want to hear your singing voice as often as the spirit moves you." That is so kind. Now, guys, I'm going to be really vulnerable here. Yes, uh, Sierra Vista has several places and Tombstone as well where you can do karaoke. So yes, just for fun, I've done that, and it's really fun. And so yeah, what can we say? Really fun. Lee the Bee says, "Hey Lee from Northern Arizona, 108 today. Wow, Lee, that is really warm. Are you? I wonder if you're up in Flagstaff area. I think you told me once, and I can't remember." Sherry says, "I love your channel. You're a fascinating person." Ah, gosh, Sherry, there are so many amazing people on the planet, aren't there? It's incredible. And I'm just blown away by just so many talented people. I've had subscribers tell me how they did things, and I go, good night. I do not have the talent to build that and that and that and make whatever work. It's incredible. So Charles says, migrant birds, guys. Yeah, no question. There's no end to migrant birds here. Cam Newton says, have you found an elegant trogon around Sierra Vista yet? Oh, yes. Been there, done that, filmed them several times. The favorite place to see elegant trogon, because it's so close to me, is Ramsey Canyon. And Ramsey, it's really crazy, folks. Ramsey is very busy. A lot of tourists go there. A lot of birders walk up and down that canyon. Families with little kids that don't want to be there, that are crying and everything. Doesn't matter. Elegant trogons are still there, kind of skulky, but they're there, and they nest there even. So that's cool. Rex Moore says, how's your experience been with the Cochise County building inspector? Rex, absolutely awesome. Um, the one that I interact with about my property is named Debbie, and Debbie's just fantastic. I mean, I'll literally, last year, oh, just to tell you guys, last June, I had to send an update on how my property's doing. And at that point, I had a few piers in and no work done on the floor at all. And the floor, there was practically nothing done on the floor. And I emailed Debbie and said, Debbie, I'm so sorry. I forgot that my inspection for 6 months was due. And what can I do to make up for this? I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want my permit canceled. Um, I mean, I don't know what to do here. And she's like, don't worry, Dawn. Just don't worry about it. You know, um, you'll be fine. And I go, okay. So I scrambled and quickly built piers and did floor work and sent her photos. And she's like, hardly missed a beat. That was June something. I don't know, June the 12th or something. So her reply to my worry was, after I sent the photos, your next inspection is December 12th, blah, blah, blah. So 6 months from then. And yeah, so Cochise County inspectors overall, the ones I've interacted with uh, are very gracious overall and very, very helpful. And that's my experience. Let's see. And then it says, Shane says they definitely are pumping a lot of ads over the feed. I'm so sorry, folks. I just don't know what's going on with that. I'll look into it in the future. Neil says an active mind is a happy one. No question. Yeah, no question. And honestly, uh, I'll be honest, one of the stressors. Oh, good grief. Uh, oh wow, how cool! I've got to interrupt everything and say a huge thank you to Rancher Stothberg. $50 towards the weed eater. Oh man, thank you so much. I'll tell you, I fell in love with that thing because my neighbor is 70 some year old, uh, and I didn't know how those things even work, but you bump it and the string comes out real easy, and the thing is really great. It goes through weeds like nobody's business, and it's all battery operated. So I fell in love with the thing. So that's super thankful. I really appreciate that. Um, so as far as the mental thing, regarding what Neil said, an active mind is a happy one. Now, one of the pluses and minuses about doing all this stuff for the first time in your life at X amount of months out before I'm 70 is that I don't know about you folks, but you know, I love it, but I'm stressed out by it at the same time because I go, okay, so I have to learn which goes first, the underlayment or the drip edge on a roof, etc. So that means I have to literally, it's like when I was doing a master's degree, and cramming for tests and stuff. You've got to all of a sudden learn a lot of new stuff and quickly, and it's stressful. Now that's the negative. The positive is when you learn it, uh, it's so cool. All of a sudden, you learn a new language too. Like honestly, 2 years ago, when someone said, "So Don, what kind of soffit are you going to put up on your building?" You go, soffit? What's that? A soffit? Is that like a huge, extra huge sock that you hang up for Christmas so Santa can put stuff in it? I don't know. And and so you learn new terms and you learn new things. And so yeah, your mind definitely gets taxed for sure. And Shane says the smirk says it all. Yeah, I honestly, yeah, Shane, honestly, I wasn't aware they're pumping ads and that, whatever smile I had or whatever, I literally did not know. So, but anyway, uh, or maybe I was just happy about the donation from Rancher Stoffberg. Anyway, Lee the Bee says in the west side next to Nevada, Colorado River. Very cool. Charlie Middleton says, Don, nothing better than doing your own project and watching it all come together. So many of us viewers are right there with you all the way. Just finished 126 days in a tent watching your channel. Wow, Charlie, I so appreciate that, and I just I'm just so thankful and respect the time that you take to watch this channel, and I don't know how to wish you well any more than I can. Chemo Alapeki or Alapeak, sorry. Chemo Alapeak says, I built my own house up in the Idaho mountains in my 40s. Now I'm in my late 60s. So if I can make progress every day, even a little is enough. At least you're not racing to beat the snow. Good point, and I'm so thankful for that. That's for sure. Consuela Fonseca, forgive me if I'm botching that name, says, Hi, Don. Thanks for being an inspiration for my husband because sometimes he's complaining about something, and I say, Oh, God, please take care of Don. Wow, that is so kind. We're two, and he's alone. Wow, that's so cool. Um, that you pray about that. That's important for sure. Charles says, Wow, and Yahoo Rancher gives this symbol. And then Rancher Stofford says, I challenge everyone to help Don get this weed eater. Wow. Well, what can I say, Rancher? I can only say thank you to you. And, and people do what they do. Oh, wow. Sherry sent 1999. Wow. More weed eater funds or whatever you want me to do with it, Sherry. Tell me what you'd like me to do with it, Sherry, and I will honor that. I promise. So, folks, that's what's going on here. I'm a lot of you seem to have enjoyed the little clip I put up on the Texas horned lizard. And Charlie says, I'm all fine and dandy, and I just love living in nature by choice. Oh, that is cool, Charlie. I'm glad that's by choice. Um, one of the things that I did, which I think I mentioned before, I lived in Australia. Yeah, I lived in Australia, mate, for about 6 months. So I lived in Australia for 6 months in a tent, and all I did was fly, rent cars, and live in tents. And I tried to remember in 6 months' time, I think I was in a roof, under a roof, somebody's roof, 6 times, I think, in 6 months. Um, oh my goodness. So Florida Jack sent $50. Thank you so much, Florida Jack. Really appreciate that. Awesome. I, I'm now thinking more and more about that weed eater. And definitely, you can bet. I will. I would be showing for nothing more to show you guys how tall the weeds are in the yard. Wow. Speaking of weeds, this is a great question. PMLM says, "How was your rattlesnake season been this year?" PMLM. Let me try to think now. Hmm. Zip this year, not a one. Not sure. I mean, I'm sure there's been some crawling in the yard, but they never made themselves visible anyway. So none. And and I think I'm seeing a pattern. If it's really wet, then they don't like it. They don't seem to like my yard. And um, I don't know why that is. I do know that when it's really wet on my property, then desert king snakes show up. And um, I don't know uh, if any of you know what desert king snakes are, but they're these beautiful big snakes that are multicolored, and I've seen them as small as that and as big as about 4 feet long, and they got uh, really deep, dark stripes that are a combination of uh, dark, almost black, and then there's pale yellow, and then their heads are chocolate brown. Now, the reason I mention king snakes is it's a rattlesnake's worst nightmare because they'll literally hunt for rattlesnakes and eat them like spaghetti. They're immune to the poison. So I always wonder if maybe, and they show up when it's wetter. So I don't know. But all I'd say, rattlesnakes were missing in action this year so far. Mark Pearson says, "Hi Don, I'm in Iowa. I come south in November and go home in April or May. I go to BLM land by Yuma. So really, if you need any help, let me know." Thank you, Mark. That's really kind. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Not the Mama says, creators have very little control over ads since YouTube's new policy on ads. I enjoy watching you, Don, as so a few ads is worth it. Thank you, Not the Mama. And honestly, that's a major part of my income, honestly. For folks who tolerate the ads, um, the if I put up a YouTube video at this point, again, I try to be very candid and it does okay. I can make just from that one video, I can make $100. And so that is a major part of my income because I'm all Social Security, Canada Pension Plan, and Canada's Old Age Security. So that's how I make my living. And YouTube. And YouTube is a serious part of my income. And so I don't forget the folks that are kind enough to put up with the ads, and because that is how I do get the income. And I always encourage folks, you know, uh, if you can tolerate them, unless they're really long, skip them. I would say if they're 20 minutes long or something. But if you can tolerate them and get up, let the dog out, get a cup of coffee or whatever, then YouTube has no way of knowing whether you actually saw the ad or you were in the bathroom. They don't know, and so that helps. But you guys do what you're comfortable with. It's my channel, but it's made for you guys to enjoy. So do what you really enjoy. Shane Michael says, no, that's a reverse peace sign in Australia. Oh, I got it. Yeah. So, yeah, Dan, enter the signs around backwards. Neil says, 16 Celsius here in beautiful. Yeah, that's 16 C is a nice fall day for sure. And then Rancher Stoffberg says we need another 130 bucks, everybody. Let's go. All right. Thank you for promoting. I appreciate that a lot. Um, so, folks, we're winding down. We've got only 5 minutes left. So, I've got time for, oh, goodness, I've got time for a couple more questions. So, uh, you're welcome to post them. If you can scratch your head and think, it's not even on the topic here, but it's something I've always wanted to ask him. If it's within reason, of course, I will definitely answer it. So, you're welcome to post something in the next 5 minutes. Otherwise, I'll just be singing for the next 5 minutes. Just kidding. So, um, PMLM says, I love all your MacGyverisms. It has so surprised me how you get stuff up a lot. Yeah, thank you so much, PMLM. Yeah, it's just all about, putting muscle into things, but using pulleys and figuring out the best way to do it. And honestly, I fail a lot. So for every sheet of plywood that you saw go up smoothly, there was probably 25% of those were really difficult. And um, once, I think, one piece fell off, actually fell down, fell right off. But anyway, um, that for me, maybe that's the boy in me. I love figuring out how to do stuff like that. And that's part of the fun and the challenge. Normally a construction crew has like 4 people to do this. Let's see how I can do that alone. And that's all part of the fun. Bob Cole says, have you Roadrunner? They love snakes too. I do, Bob. Rhodey has made an appearance in more than one of my videos, and he's here, and his girlfriend shows up. He lost, I think, his original wife or girlfriend, and then he eventually got a new one, and I've seen both of them on the property. And then let's see. Lee the Beast says, and enjoy watching you, but wonder if it's truly safe building alone. Well, Lee, all I can say is if you watch construction crews, those folks, sadly enough, have accidents as well. There can be 3, 4 people, and one guy can be younger maybe and careless, and next thing you know, the guy's off to the hospital. So all I can tell you is there's never a truly safe guarantee with anything. So all I try to do is be super careful, and that goes a long ways. I mean literally where it's your job as soon as you step outside the door to do everything with safety in mind. And I'm envisioning what can happen to me if I don't take the precautions I do. So I hope that helps. And mm, Makita Streamwalker says wind tower. I could. It's almost always windy here. That's for sure. Shane says want to talk politics, and they answered that. Shane is respectfully that would be not part of the channel, and we'll move on for that one. And then Jess Holmes says, good afternoon. How often do you come across snakes, and have you ever been bitten? Jess, not often on my property. Well, it depends. I see snakes every year on this property, but as far as the dangerous ones, rattlesnakes, I think this is summer number 4 here. Well, 4 years anyway. I've seen a total, I think, of 6 rattlesnakes in 4 years. So not very often. And I've never been bitten. But again, I never go anywhere without a light at night where I can see my feet. And I never walk through my grass on my property without gaiters for leg protection, or I'm looking down and I can see the grass is short enough. I can see everything. So no. Then next couple more questions before we where we say where we wrap it up. PMLM says, wondering why did you choose to apply the wall sheathing before the roof sheathing, thinking about the rain on the floor? PMLM, that is a fantastic question. It really came down to this. My structure with 2x6s, I made really sturdy, but with all of those windows and door openings all cut and the way I chose to do it, putting lots of weight on the roof, as in doing all the roof, I didn't like, because I was up in the roof area once, and it seemed like it was a little unstable and a little wobbly. So if you can think of like a cardboard box where you don't have it all, you know, the tabs all folded together to make the box square and sturdy, and it's just all open, and you put weight on it, it it, it it's unnerving, and I'm sure it would have been okay, but I didn't like that. So I wanted to make the whole structure sturdy before I started to do roof work. And the sheathing literally just is like braces. It just braced it all in. And so when I'm up on the roof, it was super solid feeling and no problem at all. So I hope that makes sense. And Charlie Middleton says, what's your favorite food for breakfast? Do you need calories for all that work? Charlie, yeah, I do. And favorite food for breakfast? It varies, but the one of my favorite foods for breakfast is literally oatmeal and frozen fruit, and that is my favorite breakfast meal. And Midwest Mama Adventures, do you get ideas from YouTube? Oh, definitely. And I try to give people credit for that. For example, my steps made out of cinder blocks. I saw a guy building a small set like I did online, and I did a different design, but I got that idea from him originally. Charles says, you and a few others here are what brought me here. Well, thank you, Charlie, for coming. So appreciate it. And Sherry says, God bless. See you on the next one. Thanks, Sherry. And Lee the Bee says, did you contact OSRL about the water making device? Lee, I didn't. And I may explain further why I did that. That I haven't chosen to do that. Stay tuned about that. But I am aware of what they were doing. Thank you. Lee the Base, Matt says, we love you, Off Grid Grandpa. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. I'm happy to be somebody's granddad for sure. Rod says, have you seen a Proloxia? And that's my favorite bird. Rod, oh my gosh, yes. I've even got them in the channel here. There's one where I'm working on my floor, and there's a male Proloxia singing, and I filmed it. Panda Chick Mama says, I have an ego weed eater. I love mowing Dawn. Wow, Panda Chick Mama. Yeah, I love my neighbors. That was just phenomenal. I love that thing. And once I learned to use it, oh man, I would never use some dopey gas powered weed eater ever. Those things are amazing. Johnny says, nice home. Remember, no electricity, no running, no electronics car. Where's the water? Okay, Johnny. Well, um, maybe you need to respectfully watch some of the videos. I have no end electricity here, and I will in the future from solar. And uh, and then water, I've got water now, and I'll have even more water from rainwater harvesting. So Johnny, I want to encourage you to watch some of my videos, and maybe other folks can encourage him to do that. Richard says sprouted organic oatmeal, very cool. Shane says, thanks, Dawn, it's been fun, thank you so much. And Lee the Bee says, will Canada ever win the Stanley Cup again? Yeah, good question. When I was a little guy trading hockey cards, my favorite team was Toronto Maple Leafs, and I was always stoked if they won. So anyway, PLM says, thanks for visiting with us, Dawn. So busy. Now go sing karaoke. Yeah, actually, I did that last night, and I'll probably do it on Tuesday. Anyway, so folks, thank you very, very much. Oh, and before I go, Santa Fe Faves sent $1.99 and said best wishes. Thank you very, very much, Santa Fe. That's really kind, thoughtful. Appreciate that a lot. Guys, I so loved having you here today. Really, really fun. Thanks so much for watching all of the videos, and and I hope you'll forgive me if I haven't gotten to answer some of your questions on the channel. And you're always welcome to email me with questions, and I do my best to answer those. And for all those who want to come visit, I hope you'll forgive me. I get so many requests that I mean, I would never be building. I'd be just going because I love seeing people. I'd be like serving you breakfast every day and getting no work done. So if you send a request to come visit me and you got no answer, it's just because I get so many. And I hope you'll understand. Thank you, folks. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on a live or on another video. Have a lovely day. Cheers.